Hola, we're going to make a video today doing it about a joke that's called Chiste del Idioma Extranjera, which would be a joke about a foreign language. There's going to be a couple of mice, there will be a cat, and there will be kind of a surprise ending dealing with learning a foreign language. So here we go. Share a screen with us. And to start off with a joke, we're going to look at the vocabulary that would be included in the joke first. Now, there's three types of vocabulary words that we're going to deal with. The first type of vocabulary word would be cognates. Cognates are words that are similar in both languages. They're spelled about the same, they're pronounced kind of like the same, but most importantly, they mean the same thing. And cognates is one of these really nice words that they have where you end up already knowing what the word means in Spanish, but you just didn't know that you knew that the word meant. So, in this joke, we have 6 cognates. Let's see how many you can figure out. Remember, it's a word that looks or sounds like something in Spanish, and it means that same thing. So, there are 6 of them. Okay, test yourself. Atacar, bebé, importante, mamá, ratón, ratoncito. Well, let's see if we can figure it out. Atacar looks like and sounds like attack, and it does mean to attack. Bebé looks like baby, and it does mean baby. Importante looks like important, and it means important. Mamá looks like mama, and it is mama. Raton looks like rat, and it does mean a rat or a mouse. Ratoncito also looks like rat, and it does mean a little rat or a little mouse. Okay, so I would imagine that you probably knew all 6 of those words. Maybe you just didn't know that you knew them. Well, that's one of the levels of vocabulary that we'll go on, that we'll look at every time that we do a vocabulary, a joke. Okay, the second level of words, I have words that are just written not in the bold black like we did with the cognates, but just regular black. This would be the words that if you had taken a first level of Spanish, your first year of high school Spanish, or your first college course, these would be high frequency words that probably almost everyone would know by the time they were finished with the first level. These are words that are used a lot, and they're high frequency, and so most people would know what they are. Well, let's see how many of these you know. Ahora. Ahora means now. Al is a contraction. A means to, and el would be the. And when we combine to the together in Spanish, we end up with al. Aprender looks like to learn. Caminar means to walk. Cuando means when. Decir is to say or to tell. El means the. Estar means to be, is am or are, when we're talking about a changing condition like an emotion or location. Gato means cat. Idioma means language. La is another way to say the. Los is a third way to say the. Niño would be a child. Porque, if it's 2 words like it is here, that's going to be a question word. Why? Ser is another word that means to be, is am or are, just like a star. Spanish is a little bit more exact than what we are in English. The situations when we would use ser would be something that it's the way it's a normal condition or origin. Un would mean a or an. Una also means a or an. Well, that's we have one that's masculine, one that's feminine. Ver means to see. E, the letter Y, means the word and. Okay, these are all first level vocabulary words that um, one would probably know if they've taken a first level of the language. I have the third type of vocabulary words. These are ones that I've written in blue. And these would be words that you would not probably learn your first year of Spanish or your first course of Spanish. These would be a little bit higher level words, which words that you'd learn at a later time. And I put them in blue to help us realize that I probably wouldn't expect you to know this, at the beginning. De repente actually means suddenly. Extranjero means a foreigner or stranger. Gritar means to shout or to yell. Guau, guau. Well, that would be how a dog barks in Spanish. In English, it's woof woof, but in Spanish, they would say guau, guau. Huir means to flee or to run away. Poder means can or to be able to. Tan means so much or as much as. Well, how many of these words did you already know? If you went back and you tested yourself, well, I'd give you a kind of a good idea of which level you would fit in with all of this. If you would combine the cognate words, 6 of those, with the first level vocabulary, I think there was 19 of those, with the higher level vocabulary, which are 7 of those, well, my question would be, out of how many of these 32 vocabulary words do you already know? If you know 29 to 32, well, then you're doing excellent, and that means you really have a good vocabulary for somebody, and you're probably not a beginning student. If you were 25 to 28 out of those 32 words, you would have a pretty good vocabulary, and also I would know that you're not really a beginning student. If you were 12 to 24, I would know that you've had some Spanish and that you are in the process of learning and getting to the point where you would be pretty good at the first level. And finally, if you got 0 to 11, that would mean that you're probably a principiante or a beginner. And but that's okay. As we work on the vocabulary more and more, pretty soon all of these words, the cognate words, you'll be able to figure out just as we have them. The first level vocabulary word, pretty soon, as we go over them, you'll be getting pretty good at those, and I would imagine that you would be, moving up quite a bit better. Well, here I have a list of all of the vocabulary words again. So if you want to take time, you could come here and you could kind of pause the video and you could look at these words. And again, you can see that they're all kind of coded. If it's in the bold black, they would be cognates. If it's just the regular black, they'd be first level type words. And if they're in the blue, then that would be a little bit more advanced. And I have all of the words, and once again, I have all of the definitions. Well, let's go to the joke, and let's see if we can figure out the joke. Okay, that's a mouse joke, chiste de raton. Here we go. Read the following joke. Use the vocabulary list if it's necessary. So, here we go. Una raton mamá. Wow, so far in that part of the sentence, we have 2 cognates. We have raton, rat, or in this case, we'll probably call it a mouse because a rat sounds a little bit more ugly than a mouse. Mouse, kind of cute. Mamá, so it's a mama mouse. Y un ratoncito bebé. Bebé, oh, there's a baby. So we've got a mama mouse and we've got a baby mouse. Están caminando. Caminar is to walk, so they are walking. A mother mouse and a baby mouse are walking. Cuando de repente, when suddenly un gato los ataca. Gato is a cat. Ataca, oh, there's a cognate, attacks. Okay. Mama mouse and a baby mouse are walking when suddenly a cat attacks them. La raton grita. The mouse shouts, guau guau. Y el gato huye. The rat shouts, woof woof. And the cat runs away or flees. Ve, dice la mamá al niño. Sí, says the mom to the child. Puedes ver ahora, you can see now, porque es tan importante, why it is so important, aprender un idioma extranjero. You can see why it's so important to learn a foreign language. Okay, that would be the joke. Put it all together. There's a mama mouse and a baby mouse, and they're walking when suddenly a cat attacks them. The mama mouse shouts, woof woof, and the cat runs away. See, says the mom to the child, you can see now why it's so important to learn a foreign language. Okay, well, that would be our joke. We have some themes. We have a theme about a mouse or a cat or learning a foreign language. And what I would encourage you to do is write in English or Spanish or Spanglish about one of these themes on the YouTube comment lines. And keep it short, like 30 words or less. And here's what's going to happen. Here's what we would do with this. As you write your sentence, whether it's in English or Spanish or Spanglish, you would be sharing some of your thoughts on the theme that we're working on. Well, what I'm going to do is I will translate your sentences to the opposite language so that others can see what you wrote about your theme, your short little message. So if you wrote in English, I'll write Spanish so that you can now see how to say that in Spanish, whatever it was you were trying to say, and others will be able to see in Spanish what you were trying to say. Or if you did write it in Spanish, well, then I'll translate it to English so that people would understand what you did say, especially if they were beginners. Let me give an example. So let's say I decided that I wanted to talk about ratoncito, okay, the little mouse. So I'm going to try to do it in Spanish, but maybe I don't know all of the words in Spanish, but there's a couple of words maybe I know. And so I'm going to write as much as I know in Spanish, and then I'll just do the rest in English, and then I'll go, well, Senor Goss, he'll be able to figure out the other part of it, and he'll be able to share it, and I'll be able to learn from what I had, and so will somebody else. So maybe I know how to say me for my, but I don't know how to say sun. I don't know how to say had a white. But there is little mouse because that was one of our vocabulary words that we're working on. So, and then I'd say as a pet. So I know a couple of words, but I don't know how to do all of it. So I'm speaking Spanglish, but that's better than just if you're trying to learn Spanish. Spanglish is better than just doing English. So we'd end up with mi son had a white ratoncito as a pet. Well, then I would look at what you wrote on the page and I would put it in Spanish and I'd say, mi hijo tuvo un ratoncito blanco como una mascota. And then hopefully with this, that would help you kind of figure out some of these words you didn't know. And now you'll know son is probably hijo. And you know white would be blanco and pet would be mascota. And so now you've learned a little bit, and what also anyone else who reads your post would also read something. But let's say maybe you're a little bit more advanced in Spanish, and so you're able to say a complete sentence in Spanish. Mi primer gato se llamaba Mauser. Okay, we've got the whole thing in sentence. Well, I would translate that, and I would say my first cat was called Mauser. Well, still, if there's somebody that was reading that, maybe they're going to pick up a couple of additional words in Spanish. We had gato in our vocabulary list, so maybe they know that, but maybe they don't know what primer is, and so now they'll know, oh, primer is first. And Yamaba would be was called, and Mauser, well, that's the name of the cat. That would be the same in either language. Well, you got the idea. Well, if you've got the idea, before you leave the video today, I would like you to share something in English if you have to, but Spanish or Spanglish. You know, do as much in the language as you can. Okay. Well, let's go now, and I'll talk a little bit about more what I normally do with a lesson that is based on a joke. So I'm going to change screens. I'll stop sharing there. I'll come here, and let's talk about the joke of the week. So, what are, if you decide that you're going to um, sign up or enroll in the joke of the week, here's what you'll get. Every week, I'll give you a vocabulary pretest list divided into 3 parts, just like what we did today. Normally, the list is going to be between 30 and 80 words, depending on the length of the joke. Well, today it was 32 words because it was a pretty short joke. But you notice we had 3 different types of words. We had cognates, we had the normal first level vocabulary words, top frequency words, and you can see those would be written in normal black. And then I had the higher level vocabulary, and I wrote that in blue. And so, just like today, I will ask you to judge yourself as to how many of the words from the joke and the vocabulary list from the joke that you already know. Well, after a few weeks, you should notice that your vocabulary ability will grow as you will continually be reminded of the cognates and the high frequency words that you know that are, or that you will get to know, that are found in many of the jokes. And you'll be guided as to when you would be ready to study a higher level type of Spanish activity. Well, maybe I also have short 3 to 6 minute YouTube videos in Spanish about many different interesting subjects or themes, or short stories in Spanish written by authors that have, you know, nice little interesting stories. And when you get to the point where you can consistently know most of the first level vocabulary and you're able to identify the cognates, well, you're ready to move on to some more advanced stuff. So, what else do you get? Whoops. Every week there will be a clean, family appropriate joke that I'll put on the YouTube channel. Besides the joke in Spanish, you'll get the vocabulary list. I'll explain the joke so that you'll be sure to understand it, so there's no doubt in your mind what the joke means. You'll also be invited to write a sentence or two on the YouTube video comment sections based on the theme of the joke. If you write in Spanish, I'll translate your sentences to English. If you write in Spanglish, I'll still translate the sentences to English. Either way, you're proving to yourself that someone can understand the Spanish that you're writing, and also will be able to learn from whatever it is that you might have wanted to say about that. Well, let's continue on. There's still a little bit more that we're getting with the joke of each week. What I haven't shown you is that with the joke of each week, there will be 5 short daily lessons provided with each joke each week that I'll email these little lessons to you. These lessons would be short lessons, probably 5 to 15 minutes each, that will provide practice for the normal grammar principles that would be taught in the beginning level of a Spanish class. The major verb tenses for the first level of Spanish would be the present tense regular and irregular verbs, and the present progressive tense regular and irregular verbs. And so, what does that really mean? That means each one of the principles that normally we would expect somebody to learn in the first level of Spanish, you're going to be taught that lesson or that principle at least one time within a 2-week period in the 10 short lessons that you would receive every 2 weeks. And each principle would be taught according to the targeted vocabulary found in the joke. In other words, we're going to use the vocabulary words to explain the principles of the targeted lessons. And so this will reinforce your vocabulary for the week. And the repetition of the vocabulary and of the principles that will be taught will reinforce the grammar for this level. And pretty soon, after you've had a few lessons, you're going to go, oh, I already know how to do this grammar principle. And you'll start going, oh my gosh, I already know these vocabulary words because we've had these vocabulary words. They're high frequency words and they're cognates, and we've had them at other levels. Well, let's take a look at what the normal normal grammar type of exercises that one would normally learn in a first level. We would learn how to do pronunciation. You'll notice I will pronounce all of the words for you. We'll do some vocabulary practice in several different ways. One of the principles of first year is learning about masculine and feminine. We'll need to learn about singular and plural. All of these are something that the masculine and feminine we don't really do in English, but it is a key part of the Spanish, learning Spanish. We'll learn how to do the definite articles, which are based on masculine and feminine, singular and plural. We'll learn how to do the indefinite articles based on masculine and feminine, singular, plural. We'll learn how to do the subject pronouns, which we need to understand in order to understand the verbs. We'll learn how to do possessive adjectives that have to do with masculine, feminine, singular, and plural. We'll learn how to do possessive adjectives that are based on masculine and feminine, singular, and plural. We'll learn how to do the demonstrative adjectives based on masculine and feminine, singular, and plural. So you can see there's, some things that we do in Spanish that we don't normally do in English, and we'll get really good at being able to do this, but each time we'll be practicing these things using the vocabulary that we've learned with each joke. Finally, we'll learn how to do present tense regular verbs and present tense irregular verbs, and we'll learn how to do the present progressive tense regular and irregular verbs. And so if we can do all of these would be the things that would be expected that you would be able to do quite well at the end of the first level. And probably after just a few lessons, after a few weeks, you will start getting really good at being able to do all of these things that maybe you don't even know exactly what I'm talking about right now. Okay, well, the joke of the week prices. Well, the YouTube joke of the week video is free. I'll put that on YouTube and you'll be able to see it. But to get the additional practice, I'm going to ask for a little bit of money. 5 grammar lessons weekly times 5 weeks, which means every day, 5 days a week, you're going to get an email with a short lesson about the joke that you learned for the week. So 25 lessons, I would want 80 cents a lesson. That'd be $20, and you get 5 weeks worth of lessons, 25 lessons. If you sign up for a little bit more, 5 grammar lessons a week times 10 weeks, well, that would be 50 lessons, and we'll go at 70 cents a lesson. That'd be $35. If you go 5 grammar lessons a week for 20 weeks, that would be 100 lessons at 60 cents, and that would be $60. And if you do 5 grammar lessons a week for 26 weeks, well, that's a half a year. That'd be 130 lessons at 50 cents each. That'd be $65. Note, after about a half a year, you will see that your vocabulary has increased greatly, and you should be pretty good with all of the grammar principles, because each lesson practices 2 or 3 of the 12 grammar principles that I mentioned. whoops, let's go back here. 12 grammar principles. Well, every day you'll have a short lesson. Should take you, I don't know, 3 to maybe 10 minutes to do these 3 lessons based on the vocabulary that we're working on with the particular joke. And well, if you do that for 26 weeks, I mean, you would be very good at the beginning level of Spanish. Also, no matter what you do, if you sign up for just to have the free video a week, well, I'll also give you free proverbs each week, which means every day I'll send the thought in Spanish and I'll help translate that to English. And once again, we'll be working on some vocabulary. And as time goes on, you'll keep seeing these high frequency words and you'll be seeing the cognates over and over. And that will also help you increase your vocabulary. Well, in order to sign up for the free lessons or the extremely inexpensive paid lessons, I mean, I'm only asking you to pay me $2 to $4 a week. That's one soda, that's one hamburger for all of my efforts to help you improve in Spanish in a fun way based on jokes or based on proverbs. If you're interested in that, go to www.spanishmadefun.com and also subscribe to the YouTube video. And no matter what, we'll get you the video for free and we'll get you the proverbs for free. And if you want to really start getting good, we'll start helping you get really good practicing the vocabulary and the grammar principles that are involved with each one of the jokes that we have. Well, thank you very much. Hopefully I'll see you soon. Hopefully you'll make some comments in Spanish about a mouse or a cat or foreign language. Bueno, hasta luego, hasta el próximo video.